Hi and welcome to the channel. Today I want to talk about the show George and Tammy, currently streaming on Showtime. The George and Tammy in question, of course, are George Jones and Tammy Wynette, very famous country singers whose heyday was probably mid to late 60s, though their careers went much longer than that. And their music is still very popular today, especially on traditional country music stations. The show stars Michael Shannon as George Jones and Jessica Chastain as Tammy Wynette, two very fine actors. I've always been particularly fond of Michael Shannon's work, and he does George Jones to a T, in my opinion. Jessica Chastain, I'm not as familiar with Tammy Wynette, so I can't really say how much she's nailed the portrayal. But she is a great actress, so I have every belief that it's as close as one could possibly get. It also stars Walton Goggins as Peanut, who is a member of George's band and a longtime friend and confidant. I've watched 2 episodes so far, and Peanut has sort of appeared in the background. He's had very few lines, certainly nothing central to any storyline. I do hope that we get to see a lot more of Goggins in this series, because everything he's done has been absolutely brilliant. The man is a terrific actor. He really is. Also, just an interesting side note for anybody that's a fan of the series Letterkenny, Kelly McCormack, who plays Betty Ann, one of the female hockey players for the Letterkenny Shamrockettes or Shamettes. I may have got that wrong. Appears a couple of times in a few scenes already in the 2 episodes that I've watched. So keep an eye out for that. She looks very different. She's got that 1960s bouffant hairstyle, you know, the higher the hair, the closer to God kind of thing. George and Tammy were the original power couple in country music, and it's hard to overstate just how big their impact and their influence was on things. You got to remember, this was all pre-internet. People didn't have the attention spans of a fruit fly. There were fewer stories, but the stories hung in there longer, or at least it seems that way to me. And yes, I was around in those years, though maybe I wasn't quite old enough to absorb all that was going on. I was certainly aware of things. They had a very tumultuous relationship, similar to Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton. It was on again, off again. George Jones was famous for his drinking. He was called George No-Show Jones because he often got so drunk he couldn't appear. It was not unusual. Tammy Wynette, probably most famous song, Stand By Your Man. She did for as long as she could reasonably be expected to, and then way beyond that, though they did ultimately end up divorcing. They were also among the first crossover stars. I mean, it wasn't just pure country. They got a lot of radio play on pop stations and I guess easy listening stations, as we describe them today. So even people that weren't fans of country music were well aware of who they were and their songs. And their songs are terrific. I'm a big fan of both artists, especially George Jones. Something I've noticed in country music, and I listen to country quite a bit in recent years, is that a lot of the newer artists write songs where there's always some mention, often some mention, shouldn't say always, of past stars. And they'll refer to Hank Williams, of course, who's probably the godfather of modern country music, Lefty Frizzell, and George Jones, whose other nickname other than No-Show was Possum, something that he got stuck with as a kid because he rather unfortunately resembled one at that age. And I think he kind of grew into his face, but if you see photographs of a young George Jones, it's understandable why he was called Possum. Anyway, I'm thoroughly enjoying this show, and I think for anybody that likes a good story, it's a romance, it's a drama. It's interesting to look at the background of the music industry in Nashville, It's a period piece, although it's recent history. It's still, 50, 60 years ago. It's interesting to watch, and you don't have to be a fan of country music. If you are a fan of country music, it's even more enjoyable in my opinion. Anyway, I'm going to give that show a 3.5 out of 5 stars, and definitely suggest that you might give it a try watching it. As always, thanks for watching, and please click like and subscribe. Cheers.